Good morning. I don't care what time of day it is for you. We're going to talk about the Steam Deck and how it can change your life. No, that's the next video. So the next video is going to be called Stop Doom Scrolling and Start Gaming, and we'll talk a lot about the Steam Deck in that one. But in this video, we're going to talk about upgrading the Steam Deck and just all the accessories that you can throw at it and make it a better experience, because I've upgraded my Steam Deck quite a bit, and I didn't think that I was going to have to do this, but apparently when you buy a Steam Deck, it comes with garbage buttons and a garbage D-pad. Just absolutely awful. You can get this for 28 bucks over on epicpants.com. We made these. Buttons are much better. D-pad's about the same, but it's pretty good. I don't know if okay, yeah, it's for fighting games, way better, but not perfect still. I admit this is not the perfect D-pad for fighting games. For 2D games, I love it. I love it. Anyway, I find that this has a million times better buttons than the Steam Deck. So we're going to fix that. We're going to show you some different things. I'll talk about a few of the things that I installed, and we're going to have a little bit of fun here talking about all the stuff that goes along with the Steam Deck. For the first part of this video, if you're on the fence about getting a Steam Deck, just stop everything and sell whatever you need to sell to have enough money to buy yourself a Steam Deck. So I've had a Steam Deck. I've had two different Steam Decks. I had the regular one, the LCD, and now I've got an OLED. I actually missed the LCD for a few different reasons, but I've upgraded my OLED so that it now is the best way to game. We're going to talk about hard drive upgrades. I've got my favorite one, and it's not the favorite one that a lot of people out there tell you to get, and I'll tell you why. I've got button replacements. I've got all kinds of stuff that I've done to my Steam Deck, and above and beyond that, I'll talk about just some random interface stuff and stuff that I do that makes my Steam Deck a better experience. The whole point of the Steam Deck is not to really fuss. It's just to play a game, but I can't do that. I gotta fuss. Maybe that's just what it's like being a PC gamer. You must fuss with everything. You have to, like when you play a game, you don't just click play like they do on console. You go settings, the first thing you do, because we gotta fuss with it. Like we'll go in there and tinker it and make it something exactly like what we want to play. All right, anyway, so instead of going to bed every night and hanging out with Space Ghost and doom scrolling all night, I've put that down and I've started just like chilling for an hour before bed with the Steam Deck. I've played through like 4 Shantae games, Phantasmagoria, The Drifter, and a couple of other things, and I'm halfway through Zelda on the Switch, the Wisdom one with whatever, Zelda. The first thing I want to talk about is the audio experience, because if you're just holding it, it sounds okay. But, you know, the speakers on the Steam Deck, that's not how I want to play if I'm just chilling at home and stuff. I want better sound. And Black Shark contacted me and they said, hey, we want to do something. And I was like, you know what? A little speaker set like this looks pretty cool, but I don't want to do a full video on it. And they're like, well, we can sponsor a video. And I said, okay, you can sponsor the video if it sounds good. So they sent it to me, and it sounds good. It sounds actually really good for the money. This is the Black Shark BS-SP1. It's a super simple device, which I also like. You plug it in, it's either Bluetooth 5.3 or USB-C, and you just plug it in. You can plug it right into the Steam Deck, and the Steam Deck powers it. It's got 2 5-watt neodymium speakers, and the aesthetic is interesting because you got the 2 speakers, and it looks like there's a little tweeter there beside it. No, the speakers themselves are dual diaphragm. They have, I guess another diaphragm or whatever for the bass response, which you do get some bass response out of this. I mean, they're 5-watt speakers, so it's not like insane, but I think it makes the Steam Deck sound so much better. This is just simple. You know, if you're not going to be using it plugged straight in, you can plug it into the wall and use it with Bluetooth 5.3. You can use it with a bunch of different devices. You know, it's not just for the Steam Deck. They consider it a PC speaker because you could just take the included USB-C cable, plug it up to your computer, run it in PC mode, and it becomes your speakers. If you're going to play some games with your friends, whatever, with your dock and your deck, and grab one of these and head over there. Above and beyond all that, it can put on quite a light show. You've got several different RGB options. They call it colorful neon lights. I like to either leave this off if I'm playing a game that I want to be like completely immersed in, or if I'm listening to music or something, you can put it into a mode that becomes sort of like a spectrograph where it just bounces around to the music and the sounds that are playing. So yes. So I tried this on Windows and I used it with the Steam Deck. It's plug and play for both of those if you're not using it in Bluetooth mode, of course. And then when it comes to Bluetooth, it's just as simple as pairing it. It's just like pairing any other speaker. But if I'm not going to be playing that long, I just plug it directly into the Steam Deck and play it that way, and that's where the power comes from. But if I'm going to be playing for a little while longer, just plug it into a wall or whatever else and use the Bluetooth. So that's why I've been using the Black Shark BS-SP1 as I chill and wind down for the day. But I like the fact that this is simple. Just one thing and a cable, grab it and go. Next up, let's talk about the dock I'm using. So I grabbed this Ugreen because I've had a lot of luck with all the Ugreen NAS units and stuff, but Ugreen, they make so many of these type of devices. So they know what they're doing when it comes to hubs and docks and everything. And this is their 9-in-1 dock. So you've got 100 watt right there. The USB-C that goes to the Steam Deck is quite a long cable and allows you to like pick up the Steam Deck and move it and set it aside without having to unplug it. So that's actually a benefit, in my opinion, to have a longer cable that goes to the Steam Deck that comes with it, but you can use any cable you like if you wanted to. You could just use it as a dock and get a really long cable and plug it up. You got HDMI that does 4K at 60 Hertz. Then you got gigabit Ethernet. And then we have a few different USB ports on the back. They're both USB 3.2, both the Type C and the Type A, which gives you 10 gigabits per second. Then on one side, you've got two USB Type A, and those are USB 2 for your peripherals and your controllers and everything. Then on the other side, we've got a spot for SD card and micro SD card or TF card, which is nice because you can just have like an extra little bit of storage that you plug in. It's plenty fast enough for ROMs, movies, and some other games. You could even do another Steam library on there if you always have it docked and plugged up to a TV. So this dock has been great, and it hasn't failed or stuttered or done anything weird, not even once. I also like the way that it adjusts. It's got a folding back and then a folding rest where you set your deck that has some rubber on there, so you're not going to get it scratched or anything, and you can adjust it just to the right position. So I'm using that one for my deck, and they did not sponsor this video, but they did send it over. When they sent over a NAS, I was like, yes, this is in the box too, awesome, because I was looking for a new dock. The only thing I would say is this would be the ultimate dock if it also had VGA. I've got several different VGA adapters, but I'm using this one. It works fine. I can't believe it's $10 for an active adapter. Now, it depends on what your resolution is. It goes up to 1080p, but the most of the 1080p at 60 Hertz, that's fine for most things. So if you're using a really high resolution VGA monitor, maybe you'll need something better than this or crazier than this, but yeah. Anyway, it's working just fine, but I'll do a video on that maybe later because that's kind of more involved. Next up, for a lot of people who are upgrading their memory, this is kind of the go-to right here. I ended up grabbing this one, and there's a couple different reasons. They advertise the same speeds, so they should be about the same. I've read that it's a tiny bit cooler, which is weird, than the WD Black, but they're almost the same. So whichever one's on sale, this one's on sale right now. That's the other thing that made this one more attractive, is that it was less expensive. Yeah, now that it's the same price, I don't know, maybe I would have grabbed the WD Black. The thing I like about both of these compared to a lot of the others is, for one, they're Western Digital, so they're gonna have a decent warranty and everything, but they're also TLC. Now there's a lot of different drives out there. Some are TLC, some are QLC. TLC is built tougher. It's just gonna last longer. It supports more reads, more writes. So it's going to last a lot longer. And if you're going to be using this device all the time, it's probably not that big of a deal, but TLC is going to be more durable than QLC. Replacing the hard drive is actually really easy, but I'll talk about that when we talk about the next thing. All right, let's talk about the biggest gripe, and that's the buttons. What were they thinking with the OLED? These buttons rattle around. It's like they're, I don't know, it's like they're 2 millimeters too small for the hole that's there. So what am I supposed to do with that? They just rattle around, and then some of my button presses were not even registering. I was pressing the buttons and trying to jump and attack and stuff, and I would have to press it multiple times. So I'd say like 1 in every 10 of my attack button presses wasn't working when I was playing the Shantae games, which is, I think that's mapped to X or Y. I forget which, my brain is Nintendo brain, so it's Y in my brain, but I think it's X on the Steam Deck. Anyway, that button just would not work for the attacks. 1 out of every 10 times, which is a big deal because you'll be swinging at somebody and it's like, didn't connect. So that's really frustrating. And I tried to like mess with it. Some people were like, oh yeah, you got to do all this nonsense. And I took it apart and tried to mess with it. And I was like, you know what? There's got to be a better way. I want better buttons because, I'm gaming on this. It's important to me. So I discovered this. This is a brand called eXtremeRate, not sponsored. I bought this myself with cold hard cash, even though they've got an affiliate program. I didn't join it. Maybe I will by the time this video is live, but let's just show you what we got here. They got everything you need for the OLED and the LCD. So right here, you've got a new clicky button kit. They've got really detailed instructions on how to install it. I'd say this is like a 5 out of 10 when it comes to difficulty for installing. Not that difficult, but if you've never opened up anything, maybe a little difficult. As long as you follow the directions, it should be fine, but you gotta follow these directions exactly. So these make your, I guess they make your Steam Deck feel clicky, almost like a mouse, or it's kind of poppy. I don't know. It's like a very satisfying mechanical click that I don't like for the buttons. I replaced these up here on top as well. Just figured might as well replace everything. Did not replace the touchpads because that's a pain. Anyway, they're clicky. I don't like them for the buttons, but it's so much more responsive than what it used to be that I'm okay with it. If my buttons just worked, I probably not, wouldn't have replaced those. But the D-pad on this is mushy, and I don't like it. It's not something that you can use for fighting games. If you need precision for games like Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, I don't know, Last Blade 2, what are you playing? Samurai Showdown, some SNK games, I don't know. If you want to play those games with the D-pad, not a good idea. But with this one, this clicky D-pad, yes, it's so much easier to do moves in Street Fighter and, whatever other games you're playing. So, massive upgrade, and I got used to the clicky buttons, so they just don't feel like controller buttons. They feel like computer buttons, but they work better, so yeah. The LNR and the analog LNR, whatever, it's fine. It feels about the same, maybe a little bit better for the clicks, but yes. I could go and make a tutorial on how to install all these things. I got the purple because it looks awesome, but really just click here. And this video on how to do it is really professional, very easy to follow. And if you think that you can't, just watch this video. You'll be able to do it. You can do it. I know you can do it. And then if you want a full-on replacement shell, they have those as well. I really wanted this one. Their shells, I've heard, are a little bit thinner than the default shell, so there's a bit of flex until you get it all put together. Not quite as rigid as the original, but this was a bit much for me because you have to use a heat gun all the way around your screen, and you have to take apart one too many things. It just looked like that was a bit too invasive, but if you're adventurous and you want to replace everything, that's pretty cool. God, I miss the old translucent technology stuff. I do got them translucent buttons, but I probably would have kept the black buttons if I went with one of them purple shells. Anyway, maybe eventually I'll replace just the back shell because, I don't know, something happened and now there's a little snag right there. It's kind of annoying, but yeah. Didn't replace my power button because that requires you to take apart one too many things as well. So yeah. All right, so I was going to replace my analog sticks as well. I got some Hall effect replacements, and I replaced my sticks. But the left stick, I don't know what was going on. I could not get that thing to calibrate. I removed it, tried different things. I actually bought two of them, and two different ones. And no matter what, whenever I plugged in the left analog stick, it just would not work. It was really frustrating. It was always like drifting in all different directions, and I was like, what is going on? So I switched back to the original Steam Deck analog sticks, which I really like. I don't think that it's going to matter that they're not Hall effect because I can go in and change the dead zones if I need to with all of my games and emulators and whatever else in Steam. You can do that. You can change the dead zone. So, stick drift is not really that big of a worry with this. I mean, if it comes down to it, I'll try to replace them again and figure out what I can do. But yeah, I just couldn't get the new sticks to work. So sticking with the originals, and I like the way they feel quite a bit. If you're curious about what I've been playing this week, you can, I'll thumb through it all right here. There, that's my latest stuff I've been playing on the Steam Deck. Yes. Didn't really get into Grizzly Man. Heroic, no playtime yet, so it says. All right, why should you get a Steam Deck? Well, number one, it's the best console. That's it. If you want to replace all your consoles, by all means, you can do it. This may not have graphical powers like the latest PlayStation or Xbox, but it's as good as a Switch, maybe a Switch 2 or whatever the hell they're calling that thing. And the thing about the Steam Deck is they've made it as easy as a console, but you can fuss with it and get difficult and make it do anything you want, like I've done with this one. So if you switch over to desktop mode, install something called the Heroic Games Launcher, and then you can log into your GOG account and your Epic account and all those free games you've been getting on Epic for the last 7 years or whatever. Now you can play those right here on your Steam Deck. Just make sure that you say, hey, Heroic Launcher, open up inside Steam. Just tell it to, add Steam shortcut or whatever. That way, when you're over in the gaming mode, you'll have your Heroic Launcher, like so. I'm not going to plug this thing up right now. I don't want to. All right, there we go. So this is your Heroic Launcher, and it sets up with all your different accounts right here. There we go. And whatever's grayed out is not installed, but yeah, these are all both my Epic games and my GOG games. And now I can just install them right here and run them just like any other game through Steam using Proton. I mean, this thing has its own Proton, but you're using the Steam input and everything because this is opening in Steam. And yeah, with the Heroic Launcher, you can install the games. And here's the cool thing. If you want to use a special control scheme for whatever game it is, after you install the game, you go back into desktop mode, find that game in your Heroic Launcher, and then just add that game individually to Steam if you wanted to. Now, there's more advanced ways to do this where you can like have your entire library. I think it's called the junk deck, or I don't remember. You can do those kinds of things, but I much prefer having my platform separated like this just for personal reasons. There's other hackety reasons I like to do all these things this way, but yeah. So you can have all your games on there, and then you can play all your emulators, and you can play Switch games just fine on here. So I've got Switch, I've got Wii U, I've got all the different consoles, all the old Sega and Nintendo stuff, PlayStation, PlayStation 2, all that can play just fine on here. So it's every game on a console thing that fits in your hand, and when you get the dock, it's basically the ultimate Switch murderer killer thing. And it's pretty good when it comes to playing Click Adventures as well, which I've been playing just almost on like the last chapter of Phantasmagoria, playing through that right now, some old Sierra games, and it works just fine. I've got it set up so that I can play it with one hand. Like I've got it set up so that this is my mouse cursor. These are my mouse cursors as well. And then both of these are left and right click. So if I just want to like, lean over and like hang out, like whatever, just chill, I can like hold it and control the mouse. So it's a Click Adventure. I can control the mouse and everything with one hand just by holding it like that, because whatever. And then if I don't feel like snapping those as well, I've got these things mapped to like left and right click. So I can just click. So any way I want to hold it, I can play my Click Adventures just fine with the setup that I have, because Steam allows you to go in and create per whatever profiles and say, hey, whenever I'm playing Scum VM games or Click Adventures, use this profile that I've set up. And you can go in and say, this button is this and this button is that. And then on the back, I have this mapped to actual keyboard buttons that I use for short keys. You can map these buttons right here on the back as your different keyboard keys. Same thing I do when I'm playing my Switch games and stuff, the emulators. I map one to F11 to switch between full screen and whatever, and another one I map to escape. So you can just map these things on the back, make your life easy. It's really, really handy. Anyway, I've rambled enough about the Steam Deck. In the next video, I'm going to talk about how replacing your doom scrolling sessions with gaming sessions will make you a happier, better person. And we'll talk about that just a little bit. It'll be like a rant 30 type video, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, thanks again to Black Shark for sponsoring with the Black Shark BS-SP1 Bluetooth computer speaker. You pick between them. Bluetooth 5.3 as well. Sounds pretty good. Anyway, check that out. The link's down in the description. And we also have a huge sale right now going on Epic Pants. A bunch of the shirts are on sale for like $7.99 or something. I don't know, something ridiculous. I just sold some other thing. I have to check and see what's left. I just sold out of a few different things. But yeah, head over to epicpants.com. All the details about the sale are there. And I'll see you on the internets.